Welcome to All Electric Conversations, where we talk with pioneers in traveling with electric vehicles. We are your hosts, Katie and Steve Krivolovic of the All Electric family. From road trips to towing and daily life, we'll hear stories of wanderlust and progress to inspire your own adventures with All Electric Conversations. Welcome to the very first official episode of All Electric Conversations. And for the inaugural episode, we have Brian and Becca of Supercharged Camper. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook under the name Supercharged Camper. So without further ado, let's get into the first episode.
Today we are here with Becca and Brian, and they are from the Supercharged Camper. So we'll just start by having you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure. I'm Brian.
I'm Becca.
And we're residing here in Florida, South Florida now. We're New England transplants. We came down in about 2011, purchased in 2012, and we dove headfirst into the all-electric lifestyle, if you will, with we 12.6 kilowatt solar system, our first EV in 2015, all EV since 2017. For daily drivers, I do have a little gas-powered toy, but that's where we're at now.
Yep. So we love Florida because you can camp all year long, and yeah, it's been great.
Yes, yeah, we're jealous of the Florida part, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. And so, what made you transition down to Florida?
I actually got hired by NextEra Energy, which is a renewable energy company. So even that works. I'm in the same space.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
So you guys, it sounds like you have some visions of what you were going to do before even getting to Florida with your solar system and moving into all electric vehicles and all that stuff. Is that true?
Yeah, we both kind of have a sustainable mindset, I guess you could say.
Yeah, awesome.
That's awesome. So I have to ask, okay, so you guys travel with 2 dogs, so I got to know the dogs' names and what kind of dogs they are.
So they're very well featured in our Instagram. They are the big one's Sigmund. He's our German Shepherd, and the little one's Penny, a little corgi.
They are so cute. I love the pictures with them in there. So, okay, so you said you owned the EV since 2015 and have been completely EV since 2017. So we know about the Model X, and what else do you guys have?
So we also have a Chevy Bolt right now. We're actually leasing that one because we're looking forward to a more powerful tow vehicle in the future. But we started with a Nissan Leaf, which was actually a 2013 Nissan Leaf. It had like a 24 kilowatt hour battery. It went about So it's very different from what we have now.
Yes, yeah.
And right from the get-go, we were taking that on road trips to see what we could do, how far we could push it, and we found the limitations as well as the benefits of electric vehicles early on.
Yeah, that's some extreme stuff because the infrastructure wasn't even there back then. So, yeah, not that it's 100% here now, but back then it was even less.
Yeah, we there was a lot of planning that went into taking trips with that car, and we had some good calls.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, even now, it's, you get those close calls and the charger doesn't work right or this, that, and the other thing. And so I can only imagine. We had an early on Model S, and that one was even sometimes an adventure. What year would that have been?
It was a 12.
Yeah.
But, it still had 4 times the battery as the Leaf. So it's not that, not too bad.
So I can only imagine what that was like. So when did you guys start towing with your electric vehicles, and then what are you guys towing?
So we started in December of 2020. A little bit of a background to what got us into it was we have a couple of friends in our neighborhood that race dirt bikes. So it actually offers ample opportunity to dry camp at mostly, I guess the best way to describe it would be cow fields, because a lot of them are private property that have been converted over to dirt track race tracks. And we would do the tent on the back of the Tesla in camping mode, so you have the AC, and that was fine for me. Becca was not too thrilled with that setup.
It was really moist.
Yeah.
It's Florida. It's very humid. The first time
Yes.
she came, she didn't have a very favorable experience.
No, first and last time tenting in Florida.
I had gone
I
to
hear you.
I got to several of these races, but she saw what their trailers looked like, and we said, let's go look at campers. And we had a couple must-haves when it came to our camper. We wanted the mindset of a dual axle setup, just in case the unknown, if you have a blowout or something, more of a chance of recovering it. We wanted to slide out we want a wet bath.
Mm-hmm.
And we found the Winnebago 2106 DS. It was a micro mini that ticked off all those boxes. We already owned, at the time, the most powerful electric towing vehicle that was on the market, the Tesla Model X, at the time.
Yes.
The Rivian and the F-150, and now even the Hummer.
Yeah.
So we picked that up, and I've never towed with anything besides an electric vehicle. So it was kind of diving headfirst into it.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. That's trial by fire. You're just going to jump right in and see if it works at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bit spoiled with the torque of the electric vehicle.
Yeah. So you guys just kind of dove in with going with the electric vehicle. Like it was just never going to be another type of vehicle. So that's awesome. So what has been like the biggest challenge with that then, having just jumped right in and went for it? What has been hard about it, if anything?
Charging.
Of course.
Yeah.
It always comes down to charging. And it's explaining it to people, you really have to manage your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hop into any electric vehicle today, hook up a 6,000 to 8,000 pound camper, expect to do 75 on the highway, and go a significant amount of distance. So 400 miles. You're not going to be able to do it today.
Yeah.
But it's with the most challenging aspect when it comes to charging is, one, the infrastructure is great with Tesla. But it's how the infrastructure is set up. As you all know, the majority of these charging stations are set up for backing in. So we have to drop the majority of the time because we refuse to block any charging stations. I could think of a situation where we might, if maybe 2 in the morning and there's 20 stations out there, like the one in Savannah, Georgia. But we haven't really come across too many of those in our travels where we wouldn't be either blocking the right of way or blocking other charging stations for the people to access. Even with the pull-ins, like at a Wawa, they have the pull-in stations, but you're still going to be blocking a significant amount of. And your trailer is a little bit longer than ours.
Yeah, but the benefit is because we started towing with the Model X, and we did have to unhook more frequently with the Model X because of where the charging port is on the Teslas versus the Rivian and the Ford being in the front. We found that it's been easier to not have to unhook the trailer. So that is kind of, the charging network may be better on the Tesla, but you do have to unhook more often.
It's definitely more reliable. That's for sure. Have you ever used the public charging rather than the Tesla?
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, we have one of our favorite charging spots.
Yeah, is the FPL Evolution in Okeechobee, Florida. So that one is actually set up so we can pull into it.
Oh,
nice.
It's, I don't know what you call them, blocked off, whatever. So
Yeah.
we can actually pull into it. So we've got some photos of that if you want. But that's actually, I work for the company next year owns FPL. So I know people who use it. So because I'm here again.
And we'll use the Chidemo adapter for those stops. And actually, most recently was on Monday. This past Monday, on the way back from St. Augustine, we came to our very first Tesla line at a Wawa. It was, I think we were the 5th car, and this was after we had to drop our camper in a nearby empty parking spot. We were thinking, well, we're going to be here forever, waiting for a spot. luckily, we always travel with our Chidemo adapter, and there were 2 charge point stations there. So we plugged into that. In the meantime, hung out in the camper, waited till a couple spots opened up, and then just moved it over to the faster charging, and we were on our way.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's obviously one of the benefits. So like, what else have you discovered that you love about it? What is the best parts about traveling with an EV and, you know, like being able to hang out in the camper while you charge and that sort of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it really easy that we can just hang out in the camper, right? I mean, we can make lunch, we can watch TV if we want to. So it makes charging a lot less, I don't know, aggravating, because it doesn't really feel like you're waiting that long.
Yeah. And what's nice that our camper does have some of those onboard systems that does allow us to have the comforts of home with the built-in lithium-ion battery. We have a dual solar setup, and it all comes standard. So we're able to run the AC. We're able to watch television. We're able to run all of our systems in the camper without being plugged into anything. And it really actually comes in very handy, not just in boondocking for what its intended purpose, but when you're plugged into a charging station and you know, or waiting for one.
Yeah, and that's very different from our first camper because we didn't have that. So waiting a long time, you know, trying to keep the cat in there without it getting too hot, you know, it's a lot easier now that we have the batteries.
We do travel with our diabetic cat too, so she does she does need a little bit of extra TLC when it comes to traveling.
Yeah,
that's awesome that you're able to provide that. So the camper, it came standard with that, or do you have to put some of those things into that camper?
So this was we just picked up the Micro Mini FLX, the 2108 DS this year, and that one does come standard with the 320 amp hour lithium ion battery, 3000 watt inverter, the dual 190 watt solar panels, and the incredibly efficient AC unit that just runs off of everything runs off the onboard batteries or the inverter. It's very impressive, actually.
It's awesome.
That sounds great. So
yeah, it sounds like we just replaced an air conditioner on our camper, but we need to figure out what what those are.
Yeah, we had an air conditioner go bad, and it was is the most expensive one, of course, that they make. So
yeah.
But, and it's not very efficient either. So.
No, we're still working on getting the camper to be as efficient as you know, the car and stuff. But what features were you guys looking for when you searched for a camper? Was there anything, like you said, having the tandem axles and that kind of thing? What else were you guys looking for when you got your camper?
First and foremost, safety. We wanted to be well within the specifications of the Tesla when it came to the capabilities of it. The Tesla can tow up to 500 pounds, or 500 pounds, geez, 5,000 pounds with a 500-pound tongue weight for the standard hitch, the removable one. We did upgrade to the draw tight, so we lost that weak point where you can remove the receiver. So now it's a solid piece, which they assured me you can up the tongue weight by a little bit more. But we wanted something that we knew no matter how much we loaded this up, we were not going to be outside of those specifications, so we could tow it reasonably safe. And we did incorporate some weight saving measures, such as the
sway control?
We use electronic sway control. It runs off a gyroscopic and GPS. It activates over 40 miles an hour, so if it detects the sway in the trailer, it'll automatically apply the brakes to the trailer, so we don't have to have that additional weight of the weight distribution or mechanical sway control. But it was mainly the safety of it, but we also wanted the creature comforts of a bathroom with a separate toilet from a shower and a sink and pretty much everything that we all the creature comforts we have at home we have in that camper now.
Yeah, and it's actually a narrower camper than is typical, so we didn't have to get any mirror extenders to add onto the Tesla, so that was really nice too.
Nice.
So
what kind of what are you getting for consumption when you are towing it? Especially, I'm curious now too that it's, a more narrow trailer, because the one that we towed with our Model X was not. And so I'm curious what you guys were getting.
So we did see a significant increase in consumption with our current trailer, just because it's a lot taller than our previous model, and I did recently see somebody call it their condo on wheels, and I think that's very accurate because the acronym for that would be CAP, and it is like towing a cap or a sail because it's the taller it is, that just the consumption rate goes way up. We were about 4 to 6 driving 400 to 600 watt hours per mile with the Model X and our previous model camper, our other Winnebago, and the one that we have now. I would say we were conservatively driving at 750, and we saw it go up as high as 900. This was on US 1 going 55 miles an hour. With some ample opportunity for regen. So it's...
Yeah.
Yes. When that graph gets pegged up at the top, you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I always remember in the Model X when we were towing with it, and it would just get pegged up there at the top, and I'm the one with range anxiety, so I'm like, are you sure about this? And he's like, I got it. And I just remember, I'm like, but look at that. All the way at the top.
We did run out once. We did run out of power once with an eye shot of our house. And it was embarrassing in the fact that all of the neighbors saw it.
Yes.
We were pushing. We wanted to see what those little dots meant when we got so low on our battery. Now we know. Don't floor it when you see those little dots. we were just drawing too many amps, and it just said, nope, you're going to stop here.
Yeah. Luckily we have.
Was it? Yeah. Was it the incident where at the end of the battery, some of the Teslas do that, where they just shut down? You still have energy in the batteries, but like I think you stated it there, you're drawing too many amps, and so it just shuts down. Is that
and it was very gradual. There was a lot of warnings. Ample opportunity. Had we been on the road, I feel confident that we would have been able to safely pull off the road and been out of a right of way. But it happened in the neighborhood. The only thing we temporarily blocked one of our neighbors' driveways with a camper. So they were very nice.
Nice.
Well, that's good. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a point that most people now that are towing with their EVs are pretty adventurous and willing to kind of push those limits and see, okay, what can the car do? How far can we go? What does this mean? What does that mean? I mean, have you guys kind of felt like you are trying to push the limits just to see what it can do?
I would say so.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. Conservatively pushing limits, I guess.
Yes.
Within the span of, I would say, under a year, we've gone on 2 of the longest trips we've taken, and I would say almost in an EV, because we've gone up to Massachusetts before. That was our number 1 longest trip. That was not with towing, but we recently did it. Well, last year we did a trip down to the Keys, and that was a few hundred miles, several hundred miles.
Several hundred miles. I don't know. It took us, 9.5 hours, and it should have taken us about 4.5, 5.
We were charging a lot more than we needed to.
Yeah.
Our way back was a lot less time.
Yeah.
And then our most recent trip to St. Augustine, we pushed it because we did have farther gaps of where charging stations were, I would say, safely positioned.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to end up in the middle where you don't have any choices left, and you're down to, a low percent.
We don't travel with any backup. We don't have a generator that we travel with anymore because we have the onboard systems, and so we run out. We are out of energy.
Always the risk, but it seems to be getting better. Like we said, we have had it's got to be 2015 or so when we first got the Model S. And I mean, we have seen a huge improvement in the charging stations that have come online and stuff. Are you seeing that as well where you guys are?
It's great too. And the if they ever go down, we happen to come across a Tesla technician that was there. And what did he say the percentage was?
I don't remember, but
I thought it was about 95% same day or to within 24 hours that they get the stations back online in the state of Florida, at least. I'm not sure about everywhere else, but
I heard that they were moving to that about a month ago. So I don't know if that's that would be more countrywide, that they're going to have them up and running within 24 hours. That's what they.
Well, it makes sense. People have to travel. Like, if you're out of energy, you need it. It's it's like telling everyone, like, oh, well, we're out of gas, and the next gas station isn't 400 miles. You can't do that.
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
No, it's definitely. It does. They gotta get them working right away, because especially when you're towing, there is no other option. You can't just go on to the next spot. So
until they get a charging station across the street, like they have gas stations.
Yeah.
Or a friendly Ford F-150 Lightning owner that might want to help out.
Hey guys, come on over.
True. Yeah.
But if you're in the Lightning, it doesn't work. As we found out. But all right, so found some of the places you've been. What's your favorite place that you guys have been able to take the camper with the Tesla?
I mean, it's a toss-up between the Keys and St. Augustine.
I love the Keys. It was gorgeous. I mean, the weather was perfect, and that was with our last camper. Our AC went out, and we didn't even notice because we didn't have to run it because it was so beautiful.
Yeah, well, because it was also December, so that helped.
We like them both I would say for different reasons.
Yeah. St. Augustine had a lot of that, like, historical draw. There was, like, so many. I mean, it's touristy, but, like, that kind of stuff.
Oldest city in the
United States.
Yeah.
In New England, we did not expect it to be in Florida.
Yeah, right? I know of St. Augustine, but I did not know that it was the oldest city. Now I know. Learning stuff today.
Always good. And so at both of those spots, did you have a campground that had full hookups or not?
Yeah, we did KOAs for both of them.
Okay, cool.
We've had the most luck with KOAs when it comes to their electrical infrastructure. We've been to a couple of campgrounds where they're not going to expect you to utilize both the 50 and the 30 amp pedestal. You usually need one or the other. So it's some of the campgrounds we've come to have only been wired up to the max for one of those, but for the 50. So if we're drawing the 8 kilowatts that we can get from the pedestal off of the 50 for the Tesla, and then the 30 off of 30 for the camper, we're going to be popping that pretty quick. But we're able to adjust our amperage on the Tesla, as you will know, just to draw down to the point where we're not popping it every hour.
Yeah. That's the huge benefit of that Tesla, that you can actually adjust the amps on there. And also, with that being said, is that one of the reasons that you got your camper with all of the solar and the lithium batteries?
Well, we picked that up because we did do a fair amount of dry camping, and we wanted to rely a little less on bringing the generator, bringing the additional fuel needed for that, just being a little more self-sufficient when it comes to that. Plus, as we mentioned before, it's super helpful to be able to hop into a nice AC camper when you're when you're plugged in.
Yeah. And it does give us some peace of mind when we leave the dogs and the cat in the camper. If we were to leave and the generator runs out of gas while we're gone, the batteries will turn on if we were to use a generator. During the heat of the summer, we probably still will.
Yeah, with the onboard battery not being plugged into any kind of power source in direct sunlight, I think it was 90 degrees outside, and the camper running at 77 on auto, we got about 7.5, 8 hours of the camper running.
Nice.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, so that'd be like ample time. If you pulled up to one of those kind of weaker pedestals that really could only provide that 50 amp service, then you could charge your car for that 7 hours and pretty much have a full charge at that point in time on the Model X, or at least close to it. And then you could plug the camper back in. So that's a benefit I see of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So have you guys run into any campgrounds yet where they do not want you specifically to charge the car while you were there?
No, it's funny because we've come across the complete opposite, and we've heard the stories of campgrounds that they've said no, you can't plug your car in. We've come across the complete opposite where we needed to plug our car in, and it was just either too far away, the spots might have been too narrow. We now have an extension cord for our mobile charger, but prior to that, the charging station might be too far away. The sites are too narrow to put the car closer without encroaching onto someone else's space. We've come across a lot of campsites that said, "Go ahead, park it in an empty one. You're more than welcome to charge it." We were surprised, and we're delightfully surprised that we've had nothing but positive experiences when it came to the sites that we've been to.
Yeah, I think people are just curious about it in general, so they're like, "Yeah, go ahead, that's cool."
Yeah, lots of questions.
Yeah.
Popping open the automatic frunk and having it full of firewood also, that usually does remind people to, oh yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Especially, I think people kind of expect it with the Teslas and stuff, but now if you open the frunk on the F-150 on the Lightning, people are like, just completely blown away by it. They're like, what is happening? Somebody thought that I had an engine fire because I had the frunk open at the grocery store. Like, no, just putting my groceries in here. We never used the frunk for the firewood. That was smart.
Yeah, we haven't come across that either at campgrounds. Mm-hmm. Our more recent trip out to Colorado, when we were having charging problems, it just said it on their website, but our assumption is that was just for charging only. And they were having lots of public charging problems in that particular town. So we believe that that's why they put that on there. We didn't ever call them because we thought we had a plan, and that plan blew up in our face. But we haven't ran into that either.
Yeah.
It's been exactly like you guys said. Just lots of curiosity and people liking what we're doing, and even the comments that you get on social media where people are saying nasty things about electric vehicles and stuff like that. How diesel's king. We have plenty of diesel people come up to us and talk to us about it, and it's I don't know. We haven't actually ran across any sort of negativity out in the wild, so to speak. So it's all just, I feel like, people writing stuff online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what, I can't even remember. Did we ask you what you guys love the most about towing with an EV yet?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah, honey.
Well, I've always loved EVs because they're low maintenance and they're quiet, but we still get the power that we need to tow with. So that turned out to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, the benefits of just driving as a daily driver they carry over to when you're towing. You still don't have to worry about a strain on a transmission. You don't have to worry about do I need to get that oil change? Do I have to get this, that, or the other flush? It's windshield wipers and brakes. And a lot of tires for our Model X. But
yeah. When we can't just quite keep your foot out of it, those tires go through pretty fast too. That's my biggest problem.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sound like you were going to ask a question.
Not necessarily, but so with that, with your cats and dogs, you have 2 dogs and 3 cats. Is that right?
Yes. Only one cat comes with us, though.
Yeah. The other 2, we tried. They hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of challenges have you seen with that, if any? And, I see a lot of benefit with an electric vehicle, traveling with animals. If you could share some of the benefits too.
Well, so you have the dog mode, which is great for the Teslas. If you need to run into somewhere quickly, you're able to pop on that dog mode, and you got this big display. I understand Rivian has something that's very similar to that, and you're able to monitor it from your phone. It's just an additional layer of peace of mind that I know my pets are going to be safe when they're in this car. The crash ratings are phenomenal in itself. We do have a lot of redundant systems. They have the whistle GPS tracking collars. Our biggest fear, we like to plan for the worst case scenarios. Our biggest fear is what you read about every now and then, where somebody gets in an accident, a dog gets out of the car, runs away injured. It's difficult. It's a new area. You have to track them down. Peace of mind with that. But there's a lot of space too in the vehicle for them to roam around. Then they always, of course, without being, it shouldn't have to be said, but it does need to be said. They always travel in the car when we're traveling. Never inside the camper, because shouldn't do that.
No air conditioning when you're going down the road. If something happens, all of the
a lot of shifting things too. We wouldn't want anything to happen to any pets in there.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing sometimes the things that come flying from nowhere when you're going down the road in the camper. You open up the door. We've had the fridge open up completely on us before, and the TV fell off of the wall once.
Oh no.
We bought it secondhand, and we found out that there was a bolt that was missing, and it luckily fell onto the bed. But we came in, we're like, what happened? All the things. So what tips do you have for people that are, either wanting to tow with an EV or even just wanting to get into the EV world? What tips do you guys have?
I would say manage your expectations accordingly. It's even the entry level. I would consider our Chevy Bolt to be fairly entry level electric car. It's rated for
259 miles.
I believe it's 259. The first time I took it just to and from work, I have a 19-mile round trip commute. We got 298 miles at the full charge. We got down to about 2%. So I would say that I could comfortably go 300 miles just going to and from work.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if when towing, manage your expectations accordingly. You're not going to be able to drive 75, 80 miles an hour towing down the highway and expect to be able to get any kind of efficiency. Have a backup plan and have a backup to the backup plan. We are mostly, I would say we're weekend warriors, so it adds an extra layer of necessity when it comes to planning. Utilize those apps, a better route planner. Know your car. As you get to drive it, you'll get an understanding of what your consumption is. Use those onboard systems, use those apps, and carry adapters and have backup plans. Sign up for ChargePoint prior, because you don't want to get into a situation where you might not have cell service and you're at a new charging station network, and now, oh no, this is my only option. I need to connect somehow. I don't have a Starlink to be able to get my own internet, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But I would say just, it's different though. It's not a negative. You're not sacrificing anything by moving to an electric vehicle. It's just a different experience. You cut out those oil changes. You cut out those regular maintenance. You cut out a lot of things that you have to do with a gas powered vehicle, and that's what we really love about these vehicles.
Well, and we've found that everybody has this mentality of point A to point B as fast as you can, and that's the only way and the best way and all of this stuff. And we found that we kind of love stopping along the way, and we found these little gyms. There was it was a Tesla Supercharger that was at a train museum, and so we were able to go in and explore the train museum and see these places that we wouldn't normally see. So, I mean, how do you guys feel? Like, about the stopping and stuff. Do you feel like it's been an added benefit to having to, when you're traveling, or, sometimes it gets frustrating? Or how do you guys feel about that?
For our situation, I'd say it's beneficial when we're traveling with the pets, just because of Stella.
Yeah, because she's got time to, do her business in the camper if she needs to. Everybody gets to eat. Dogs get to take a walk. We get to stretch our legs from being in the car, and not just for the 5 minutes you stand at the pump, right? It's like, it's an actual break from driving. So, yeah, I don't really mind it that much.
And I'm pretty fatigued after 200 miles of driving, or 300 miles of driving when not towing. I'm ready for a break to stretch my legs. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what's beneficial to us, too, is like changing that mindset, and it's much easier. It's not, okay, let's fuel up, let's go in the bathroom and get back to the vehicle and get back on the road. It doesn't even feel like it was really a stop, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
when you stop with a gas vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, when you're stopped with a gas vehicle versus EV, you got time to gather your thoughts, and I don't know. It's been very beneficial for me, because that was a huge mindset switch for me, because I was that person, point A to point B as quickly as possible.
And you arrive exhausted. You're just
tired
by the time you get there.
When you get there, yep.
Because you haven't stopped and given your body the break it needs.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I think the other thing we noticed when we went to St. Augustine, because we took US 1 instead of 95, like there was a lot of stuff to see. So even if we didn't stop, like we saw, you could see the ocean, you could see, drive through Flagler, the little tent, the pirates on the bit, like stuff that you wouldn't normally see. So even if we didn't stop and spend time, like it was just a more enjoyable drive.
Yes. Yeah. Do you guys feel like your charging has to dictate your routes, or have you been able to kind of take the routes that you wanted to take and fill in the gaps of charging, after you planned your route?
I'd say yes and no. That charging to an extent does dictate our route, but with the infrastructure, as you had mentioned, how it's gotten, it has just grown by leaps and bounds from 2012, from 2013 to today, from when we started in 2017.
Yeah.
But it's just you have that if you want to drive on the highway and stop more, you can do so. If you want to take the road less traveled, there are networks out there. They're being integrated in Targets at Wawa's there. And most of the rest areas here in Florida on the Turnpike on 95, they're across in the middle of the state down Alligator Alley. There's a supercharging station. One supercharging station.
That's awesome.
So do you guys have any gear that you don't, not going to leave home without? What kind of gear? And it can be camping related too. Like if there's, stuff that you love for camping, what kind of stuff do you guys say we got to have that when we go?
Well, if we want to go with just camping, our fire pit. We love our fire pit and our electric bikes.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And in the EV mindset, adapters. Lots of adapters. We have our Chademo. We have our 1450. We have the adapters to be able to plug into a 30 amp. Last time we were charging at the Okeechobee Chademo station, one of the police officers came up it's right next to the Okeechobee Police Department. So one of the officers came up to talk to us, and he said that somebody went to plug in, and the stations were down about a couple weeks ago. They happen to have an adapter, so they were able to plug in at the police station to I think it was a generator outlet. So they were able to charge their car off of that. But we try to plan for all those things. But
yes, any kind of plug you're going to come across, have the adapter with you.
That's fun.
Yeah. Anything else? Like any bits of wisdom or experiences or anything you guys just want to say about towing with an EV or encouragement even?
I don't know. Give it a try. You never know. You might like it. You know, if you want to just put a toe in the water, one vehicle is a long range commuter car, so you can see what it feels like to drive an EV. Get over that range anxiety before you move up to towing. Probably a good idea.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much if you want to cut out the maintenance that you're used to on a vehicle, if you want that instant torque, if you want to be able to plug in for pennies on the dollar at home, just like you do, it's as simple as plugging your cell phone for 90% of what the everyday person needs. We get home, we plug in, it's second nature. We don't even think about it anymore. There's really minimal changes you need to make at home. I mean, if you can put in just an outlet, you could put in a stage 2 charger if you want to. It's easy to wire up. It's fairly inexpensive, and it's so much more inexpensive to fuel up your vehicle than a gas powered car.
Yeah, you'll forget how much gas costs.
Yep.
Yeah.
When was the last time you pumped gas?
Years.
Yeah. When we had the F-350 and the Tesla, if it was low on gas, I was like, I'm not going. Like, I would leave him with like a mile. I'd be like, oh, well, you should probably go to the gas station. We need fuel. I'm always like, it's my least favorite thing about adulting. Why would I want to continue to do it when I can just plug in at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it showed how much we liked electric vehicles. We put 50,000 miles on that thing in 2 years
On the
versus the Tesla, or on the Tesla, and then the F-350 during that same 2 years, we put 12,000 miles on. So it's basically like me driving back and forth to work is all. But anyways, what is the more if you're willing to share, what is the more powerful electric vehicle that you're looking to purchase in the future?
So we had a day one reservation, and we are still waiting to get that call for the Ford F-150 Lightning.
Thanks.
What really sold me on it is the V2G technology, the vehicle to grid technology, where you can get the setup from installed by Sunrun. I believe it's Sunrun, where you can backfeed your house in the case of a power outage. We already have a 12.6 kilowatt system that is pretty much benefiting us just while the power's on, because it's backfeeding the grid just like 95% of solar systems. A lot of people don't have the battery backup. So that F-150 is not just a vehicle. It's not just a vehicle that has the ability to get you to and from where you need to go. To be able to tow a significant amount of distance, well, more distance than we're used to, but it's also a battery bank for your house in the case of another hurricane here in Florida. They tend to happen here. So
yes.
That's why we're really looking forward to getting the F-150 when our turn comes up, when we get that phone call, get that email.
And what trim level are you thinking of?
So I wanted to get the Platinum, but there was no option to get the lighter wheels. So I think we're going to go with the Lariat extended range, because you get that extra 20 miles of range, just getting rid of those heavier tires. But most likely the Lariat, but we'll see what happens when we get the option to go.
The massaging seats are nice.
I heard we don't get those anymore.
Even in the Platinum?
Yeah, remember?
Oh, no.
Like, we got that announcement. Somebody said, we posted, I think, like the day we got it, and people were like, they just announced that they're not going to do that anymore. And then
hold on to that model that you have. I love that. So.
Yeah, that's super nice. I've been contemplating purchasing the 20s and just putting them on there. Some guy's willing to trade me the Platinum wheels for, the 22s for the 20s. In the real world range from Kyle Connor at a spec versus Tom Logney at State of Charge, like it's hard for me because they live in two different areas. And as you know, different conditions play such a huge role, but it was only like a little over, I think 15 miles or something difference. And so I wasn't sure how much that was really going to change with towing. And so that was my concern, but I don't know. I still kind of want to try it. So I don't know if I'll do it or not.
It's always fun to test out the different stuff.
Yeah. But if I knew somebody that had 20s, in the extended range battery, then I would love to just do a towing test side by side with the 22s and the 20 and just see what the difference
Well, when they get theirs, we'll come down to Florida and we'll it out.
We'll see you in 5 days.
So my question then would be, when you guys do get the bigger, when you get the F-150, are you going to upgrade your camper then, or are you going to stay with the one that you currently have?
I think we'll keep the one we got.
Yeah,
we're happy with it.
Yeah,
I think the one we have will be very well suited for the F-150. I can't wait to do the same test that you guys did, where you plug your Airstream into the F-150. Was it the F-150 or the Rivian? I do apologize.
Yep.
The F-150 to see, because you can run all your onboard systems on that. I think that's a great benefit for, especially in the heat of summer down here. I would rather I'd rather unhook, go plug the car in nearby if need be, and come back to then having to go find gas and fill up and bring it back and forth and all that. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that. To be able to do our dry camping again.
Yeah, that's one thing Ford did right with that truck is all the onboard power. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know that we necessarily have too much interest in the vehicle to grid situation. It's probably because where we live is, I think in the last 10 years that we've lived here. How long have we lived here?
13 years.
13 years. We've had the power go out 3 times. So it's just.
And it was, a thunderstorm and then it's back on within a couple hours. Yeah. It's not, days without power. So, it's just less people, less stuff. So
that's why we haven't had too much interest with that.
Yeah.
The technology side of me is very interested in that. That's super cool. It'll be very beneficial for you guys and other people in California and Texas and these places that have a little bit more unstable of environment, I guess. So, but anyways.
Yeah. All right. Any last words? Any last things you wanna say about your experiences?
I'd say if you're on the fence about getting an EV or trying out towing with it, go for it. It's only going to get better from here.
Yes.
It's a blast.
Yeah. It's
yes. It is. It's so much fun, and so it's easier than you think, because there's so many horror stories out there from people that maybe didn't do their research or haven't even ever stepped foot into an electric vehicle that are giving advice on it.
I think that's the case.
Yeah. And you get into it, and it takes a shift in mindset, but after that, it's worth it.
It does not take 8 hours to charge every single electric car out there. We're not plugging it into the same outlet as you do with your hairdryer. Yes, that is a big one.
I just ran into that yesterday charging, and the guy goes, "How long is this going to take?" I said, "Well, I'm doing a test from 10 to 80. It'll probably take about 45 minutes." And he goes, No. And I'm like, "Yeah?" And he goes, "Oh, I thought it would take like 8 or 10 hours. I'm like, "No, I'm not going to sit at this Casey's for 10 hours."
We got a very similar comment on one of our posts. I only driving 80 to 100 miles and then having to stop for 8 hours. No, thank you. I was like, we wouldn't want to do that either.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible. But you can always rub on the carpet for static electricity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to keep rubbing the whole way.
We did enjoy that very much, by the way.
Good. I'm glad somebody found it humorous.
Did you ask something about her shirt?
Oh, well, you have a shirt that says, I love the smell of no kids in the morning. I died when I saw that shirt. I was like, oh my gosh, we love our children dearly and they are the best things in the whole wide world. But however, I was like, oh man.
We have nothing against children. Don't get me wrong.
I also just like to sleep.
Yes. Me. If I did not have kids, weekends, I'd probably at noon, he'd probably be like, come on, let's go. We're like, but it's so nice and quiet. So I just thought that shirt was very funny.
Yeah. So cool.
He found it.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was so much fun to talk to you guys and hear a little bit about your story and your experiences with your Model X and your camper. And yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing everything. So
yes, thank you.
Thanks for listening. Find all of our show notes at allelectricfamily.com/allelectricconversations. Be sure to connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook as All Electric Family. Find us on Twitter as All Electric Fam. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you were inspired by this story, please be sure to share it and hit that subscribe button. Leave a review and help us inspire others to hit the road. Until next time, stay charged.